Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Thursday, January 12th, 2023. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Al has the night off. I'm John Hayden. This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in the LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are a part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 37 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, let's start by meeting tonight's panel and welcome anchor Paul Thomas. He is currently the chairman of the LGBTQ plus advisory committee to the city of Miami Beach, a board member of Miami Beach Pride, on the board of directors for the Point Foundation, and on the endorsement committee for SAVE. He has over 30 years of experience in the healthcare and education fields, specializing in AIDS, HIV treatments, as well as being an active advocate for marginalized communities. Locally, he works with many of our nonprofit FQHCs, providing a wide range of services. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, John, and good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Let's welcome anchor Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival in the late 90s and now serves on the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. He is now the screening committee chairman, selecting films for one of America's most important LGBTQ plus film festivals. Welcome, Dino.
Thank you, Paul.
Hey, Dino, real quick. Of course, the film festival is bifurcated into April in Miami and Fort Lauderdale down here in the fall. Have you selected the films yet? Or do you have a final? Okay.
We're in the process right now, so we're like deep into the selection right now for Miami. So,
anything exciting or buzzworthy that I need to be on?
Some very good ones, actually. Yeah, some good films out there.
It's always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's always a blast.
Check later. I'll let you know more.
Pick a good
in
one
a few
for
months.
Pride.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall to watch those.
Yeah. Okay, let's welcome anchor DJ Nena, resident DJ for Lit Bar, Wilton Manors, and military veteran from New Jersey. DJ Nena has a BM in commercial music technology and an MA in English in creative writing. She has been a local DJ and music producer for the LGBT community of South Florida for over 20 years. Buenas noches, DJ Nena.
Buenas noches, mi gente. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 8 books, including his latest, Fear of Muses, an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional, LGBTQ plus, and mainstream publications and websites. His movie review column, called Screensaver, can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Gregg.
Well, hello, everyone. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the Queer News for today, Thursday, January 12th, 2023. I'd like to wish you all a happy Kiss a Ginger Day. Prince Harry, give me a call.
Oh, say hello to the royal scepter for me, Greg. Well, let's begin on that note, clearing up entertainment. Ryan Murphy's Golden Globe speech may be the greatest LGBTQ plus embracement in history. When Ryan Murphy accepted the Carol Burnett Award at the Golden Globes this week, he didn't thank his mother or God. He thanked award-winning gay actor Billy Porter, who presented Murphy with his award while wearing a transcendently beautiful tuxedo gown, and trans actress MJ Rodriguez, who broke barriers at last year's untelevised Golden Globes as the first trans actress to win a Golden Globe. Citing a litany of their accomplishments, Murphy acknowledged Niecy Nash-Betts, Matt Bomer, and Jeremy Pope. He called them a beacon of hope and progress. Murphy's emotional speech on the evolution of queer representation in entertainment, beginning with his urging the room of celebrities to stand up and deliver to Rodriguez the televised standing ovation she hadn't gotten last year. And it was a powerful reminder that queer people are so often talked about when they're not in the room, that for so long we've put in the work and not gotten the recognition. It was also an incredibly inspiring moment, the queering of a major Hollywood event. Rainbow punctuation on a growing bevy of artistic work, from films such as Tar to such shows as Sort of, showcasing the creative power of LGBTQ plus storytelling and expression. It's clear that culture is carrying the weight of progress right now. Murphy's speech was a particularly bright spot in an increasingly dark political moment for LGBTQ plus Americans. I don't have much use for the Golden Globes. I just don't. I mean, award shows are almost completely irrelevant. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which does the Golden Globes, have been under fire recently, but you know, there's a lot of rot that's been there for a long time. But it's great to see them making an effort to recognize queer cinema and queer television. The one great thing about the Golden Globes is that they do television and film. They do comedy and drama. So I'm really happy about this. And Ryan Murphy, oh my gosh, he has been such a great force over the last 15 years. You know, of course, he's probably best known for Glee and then Horror Story, but he's got so much other work out there that's fantastic.
Well, he can be kind of a polarizing figure as well, but there's little doubt that his Globes acceptance speech is certainly one for the books. It was generous, it was uplifting, changed my opinion of him, and gives me reason to look forward to what he'll do next.
Yeah, have you guys watched Sort of?
No, not yet.
Sort of is amazing, and my friend wrote it. Oh. And he's writing season 3 right now.
Is that
and
why
I'm
you're pitching
I'm so happy for him. But Sort of, I'm so addicted.
Is it streaming or what's it on?
Yeah, it's streaming. It's on HBO Max, I believe.
Okay.
Fantastic. I look forward to watching.
The main character, the acting of this guy is amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing. Wow. Just a lot of fun. Of course, you know, he's from Pakistan, I believe. So it's showing a whole different culture and how they're also addressing these issues, but so well written. You just like really fall in love with the character.
I think what Ryan Murphy did was so meaningful because not only he's a powerful man in Hollywood, but he took the spotlight to actually recognize people that have struggled for years, you know, like Billy Porter and Niecy Nash and even Matt Bomer, as good looking as he is, right? Yeah. But, and Jeremy Pope, I mean, people that, you know, deserve the recognition, and he, instead of taking the glory himself, he could have, right? He could have. He actually... Well,
he still went home with the statue. He took a little glory for himself.
No, he did. No, he did. But the spotlight was centered on these people on stage, and calling MJ Rodriguez to take her, you know, her audience, you know, recognition. That was so classic. I mean, I have a new respect for Ryan Murphy after these awards, even though you know. I didn't care for Gerald Carmichael, to be honest, the host. Okay. I didn't care for it at all. I wish Billy Porter would have hosted the event. It would have been so much better, I think. But and he's gay, and I you know, but I don't care for his comedy. It's not my kind of comedy. But Ryan Murphy and other speeches around the event were so good, but his was the best for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one thing that I love about Billy Porter is that he's just so out there. He has no F's to give, but he's classy about it.
That's right.
But I'm glad I'll be honest, I'm glad he didn't host the awards this year, because this year was a trap. I mean, you know, with the HFPA dealing with all of their rot and their issues from, you know, the show wasn't even televised last year. So I'm really glad that he kind of dodged that bullet, but I would totally love to see him at the Oscars or the Golden Globes next year or something like that.
Or the Tonys.
Or the
Tonys.
The Tonys would be great, but yes.
Yeah.
Nobody watches the Tonys, unfortunately. But
I do.
yeah. Okay.
Gay people do.
I watched them when I was paid to. All right.
Let's clear up business. Conservatives are losing their minds over lesbian female M&Ms marketing. Conservatives in the media are attacking M&M's candy after they announced the release of candy packages with the only female characters, green, brown, and the new purple. Fox co-hosts Martha McCallum, Lisa Booth, and Tucker Carlson are ranting about these candies, while the Daily Wire editor Ben Shapiro has joined them. The limited edition candy package shows the 3 female characters upside down with the message, supporting women, flipping the status quo. The packages will only contain green, brown, and purple M&Ms. In a statement on the campaign, Gabrielle Wesley, Chief Marketing Officer of Mars Wrigley North America, said that the new product was merely intended to celebrate and honor women. She said, quote, "The M&M brand is on a mission to use the power of fun to create purposeful connections, and as we work to create a world where everyone feels they belong," end of quote. M&M said that it is donating up to $500,000 to She Is the Music, and we are moving the needle to not-for-profits, organizations supporting women in the recording industry, and $300,000 to 2 other non-profit organizations. As a matter of fact, this is far from the first time the conservatives have become outraged over M&M. This is so ridiculous. I mean, this is so, you know, Fox is on brand for them. I think it definitely is the most ridiculous thing that I have heard, you know, after what Bert and Ernie and all this.
But the thing is, there was truth behind that, though.
Well, but you know,
I may have run into them in the bushes at Fire Island on weekend. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say.
If you're gonna be calling them out, then you gotta call out like Peppermint Patty and Marcy. I'm gonna tell you right now. And why do I look like the Joker tonight with the shadow?
I'm wondering what is their complaint? Because if it's about empowering women, why is that bothering them?
Oh,
Because 2 of the M&Ms held
hands, so they must be lesbian.
And why is this bothering them?
Because first of all, let's it's
M&Ms and it's got nothing to do with them. So why is this bothering them? Like, why do they care?
Because it's woke.
Chocolate, get over it.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
Like, why do they care?
Because it's woke. You're supposed to be woke.
But you're supposed to be awake.
You're supposed to be awake. You know why they care?
Why?
In my opinion, you know why they care? Because they have nothing else to complain about. Inflation is down. Unemployment is down. So conversely, jobs are up.
Yeah.
Things are starting to turn around. Aside from the price of eggs, things are starting to become affordable again. And this is on brand for M&Ms. And I want to go back to the statement she said. She said, M&Ms came out and said the brand is on a mission for a power of fun to create purposeful connections.
Right.
And that's what they're trying to do. It's like I don't know if you remember.
candy.
About 10 years or so ago, before the 2012 election, I think Fox was and conservatives, their talking point for the day was that President Obama had worn like a brown tie or something.
The khaki suit, right?
Thank you.
How dare you?
This is the type of nonsense and inanity that goes on at Fox News. And I've met people who work at Fox News. God help me, I've dated someone who works at Fox News.
You should not admit that.
I have. But maybe I have been to relationship rehab after that. I mean, seriously. But this is really a great story. And it makes me happy just knowing that Tucker Carlson is getting a little M&M wedgie.
Well, it's not just Fox News, it's Miss Ben Shapiro. And let me tell you something, girlfriend, there's room for one bitchy Shapiro on this planet, and that is me. Why don't you go back to your mom's paneled basement rec room and mourn the loss of your foreskin in silence?
Oh.
Please. Meanwhile, who would like some M&Ms?
Well, hold them up a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
And you know what?
Best use of a martini glass I've seen since happy hour.
We're gonna have to go buy some M&Ms to support this, right? I love this initiative.
I'm absolutely buying M&Ms.
Eat.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right.
Okay, now we're going to queer up the worldview. Russia's censorship law changed the word gay to men in the White Lotus finale.
Oh, boy.
The White Lotus won big at Tuesday night's Golden Globes, including Best Supporting Actress for Jennifer Coolidge. Yay, Jennifer! Whose character on the show has generated several iconic lines and memes, including, "These gays, they're trying to murder me." Built on a Russian streaming service. But on a Russian streaming service, local actors doing the voiceovers replaced mentions of the word gay with men in the HBO's show's finale. Thanks to the country's new anti-LGBTQ plus censorship law, local media reported even a male character's buttocks were reportedly covered by a sheet that was edited into the scene. It's unclear if Coolidge's mention of the word gay in that specific line was changed to men, but according to Medusa and RBC Style, the boat driver's response to her, "We're all gay here," was changed to, "We're all men here." The streaming service, Mediateca, also removed a scene in which two of the characters, Valentina and Mia, talk about sex and changed the line during an important scene between Coolidge's character Tanya and her assistant that alluded to a same-sex relationship between two male characters. The new Russian law went into effect last month, banning what the government calls LGBT propaganda. The laws apply to the internet, the media, the book market, audiovisual services, movies, and advertising, with fines going up to $80,000. And you know, it's amazing to me in today's times, because of technology, people can get on their iPad and their whatever. You can get on your phone. You can access anything on the globe, right? Why people are going out of their way and trying to censor things that are all over TikTok. TikTok has like 2 billion users, right? You can see everything on there. Why they're going out of their way to constantly try to harm our community. It just blows my mind.
They blocked that in Russia too.
Yeah.
So that's how censorship works. They don't want people to know.
But it's
they
too
say,
late.
yeah, I know. But even about the world with Ukraine, I mean, things that are very detrimental to their population. They're blocking media access and internet portals and Facebook and telegrams and things like that. So I'm not surprised. I mean, this is backwards. Yes. I mean, they did it to Madonna, to the Pussy Riots, wasn't it? She went to jail for that. That is nothing to the extent of what they've done and what they keep doing.
Well, right, but it was a long, long time ago. And now,
this
I mean,
was
if you go on
also
YouTube,
Cuba.
you can see that without it being edited.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
you can't hear Russia has it used to be the Great Firewall of China, and now they've exported it to the former
Russia?
Soviet Union.
I don't know.
Well, I want to say
So
brava
sad.
diva to Jennifer Coolidge, a fellow Emerson College alum.
Hey.
Yes.
Emerson College. And second, I want to just say something about some other famous Russians from the world of the arts. Václav Nijinsky, Sergei Diaghilev, Rudolf Nureyev, Pyotr Tchaikovsky, Sergei Eisenstein, and Masha Gessen, all queer. Please say their names whenever you can.
I think another
If you
issue.
can.
Yeah, if you can. I think another issue, Nena, is, they changed the word gay to men. And what is that supposed to mean?
Well, and that changes the meaning of the scene, too.
No, but I mean,
I wonder
that lesbians don't exist.
that's what I mean. It's like you changed the word gay to men. What are you doing?
I wonder what they did with the scene where the uncle and the nephew were like, so
What they
the
do in
uncle
that
and the,
scene?
what did they do with that scene? Hello.
And we're having a lot of fun with this. I think we're still on a sugar high from the M&Ms 5 minutes ago. But the reason this is important in two different ways. One, this is how Putin is holding on to power right now. The war in Ukraine is not going well. They just replaced the general who's been in charge of the entire thing for what is almost a year now.
Yeah.
So this is how he holds on to power. He has diminishing support in the military. His base of power, although it's hard to measure, his base of power is with their version of social conservatives. That's where his power is. If he loses them, then he's really done. And so he has to put out all this terribleness against the LGBTQ community in Russia just so that he can maintain the base of support that is quickly crumbling. But to your point, there's no cat in that bag. It is already out.
I mean, it's like, it's a little late for all of this. And only men are not gay. Like, why would you change it from gay to men?
Right.
And there is lesbian sex in that series too. Okay, so.
But you know why they only changed it to men? Because of the language barrier issue.
Right.
So they just assumed, just men, and that'll be fine.
And just one final thought. Every weekend night on Wilton Drive, you will hear someone yelling down the street, "These gays are trying to murder me."
The memes have been fantastic.
It will continue, Putin. It will not go away.
But we will continue to follow this, and we will continue to make the rest of the world aware. And hopefully they will listen about Russia's abuse of the LGBT.
Yeah, and censorship is never okay. This is never okay.
Absolutely not. And on this next note, we're going to go ahead and queer up the USA View. Equality New Mexico celebrates 30 years of transformation for LGBTQ plus community. Equality New Mexico will advocate for new LGBTQ plus protection during this year's legislative session as it celebrates 30 years as a leading advocacy organization. Kat Sanchez, chair of the board of directors for Equality New Mexico Foundation, said efforts to remove barriers that prevent gay and transgender people from thriving in life have always been the mission. She said New Mexico's long legacy of tolerance is connected to the group's success in advancing human rights for all. This year's proposed legislative policy changes include requiring affirmative consent education for all students and giving 16-year-olds the right to vote in state, local, and school board elections, as well as updating the state's Human Rights Act. Victor Romero Hernandez, the organization's advocacy associate, had not been born when Equality New Mexico was founded. As a 22-year-old, he finds it disheartening to watch the ongoing discrimination and attacks on members of the LGBTQ plus community nationwide. He says, quote, legislation that is very harmful is being introduced at all levels of government. And so you win, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else trying to derail what you've been working toward. End quote. Legalizing same-sex marriage by the U.S. Supreme Court in 2015 was a milestone for the LGBTQ plus community. Still, Sanchez said there is always more work to do, especially in communities beyond Santa Fe and Albuquerque. Well, this is fantastic. I mean, we're already celebrating 30 years, and that is a great milestone. Think of where they're going to be, say, another 150 years from now. You know, if you can, imagine this far ahead. And I love that they are empowering 16-year-olds to vote. They're finally giving them a license to speak, a license to express, this is what I would prefer. This is what feels right to me. But also, just allow, it's not just the LGBTQ, plus, 16-year-olds that are finally getting inducted into this opportunity to make those choices. For me, it's about them educating their peers. And so you'll get a larger force of kids, under the age of 18 who can say, I understand what these things mean. I know how to move forward, and I'm comfortable with voting for or against whatever it is feels comfortable to them. What a fantastic way to move forward and empowering the youth.
And congratulations to the American Southwest for surpassing the American Southeast. I'm talking to you, Alabama and Mississippi, certainly when it comes to tolerance and acceptance.
Yeah, New Mexico tends to be pretty far ahead on those issues. I love that this kid was not even born when the fight began, but that he's very aware and he's part of, you know, and he's stepping up into that space. And he's saying, you know, this is not okay. We're not accepting this 2 steps forward, 3 steps back thing that you're doing. We see you. I'm only 22, but I'm ready. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to allow this.
No, I'm like you know, allowing, empowering 16-year-old. I think it's so important, you know. They're voting for things that are affecting them in school.
Absolutely.
Right. So they are allowed to drive, you know, get a license, you know. So more, you know, they should be allowed to vote for their own rights. So I think it's fantastic. And to find, you know, New Mexico in between Texas and Arizona, it's just like, you know, it's a shine of light, you know. It's actually very good.
And that is I think is what makes their agenda and their legislation, which of course still has to pass, but makes it the most progressive, is because it's going to start getting 16-year-olds empowered. When we're juniors, at least in Indiana, when we were juniors in high school, you took a U.S. government class. And so it's really an extension of the learning that they should be getting in high school. So I think that's really great. But like I said, all that still has to pass. However, there is also other news out of the Southwest that is even better.
Yes. Now, let's queer up business. Arizona governor issues executive order protecting LGBTQ plus workers. Arizona's new governor, Democrat Katie Hobbs, has issued an executive order aimed at protecting LGBTQ plus state employees and contractors from job discrimination. Hobbs signed the order shortly after being sworn in on Monday. Arizona is one of nearly 30 states without an LGBTQ plus inclusive anti-discrimination law. Hobbs's order directs the Arizona Department of Administration to establish policies to be used by all state agencies to assure there is no discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity, in addition to race, sex, religion, pregnancy, disability, veteran status, and other factors. It also calls for the non-discrimination provision to be included in all state contracts or subcontracts. The Human Rights Campaign Arizona State Director Bridget Sharp praised the move, saying, quote, "The Human Rights Campaign was proud to work alongside countless other LGBTQ plus organizations and allies to help Katie Hobbs become Arizona's governor," end quote. The order signals that Hobbs's administration will be far different from that of her predecessor, Republican Doug Ducey. Ducey, for instance, last year signed bills into law that restricted the rights of transgender youth. Hobbs, formerly Arizona's Secretary of State, beat Republican Kari Lake, a former TV news anchor, in the governor's race as Ducey was term limited. Arizona has also elected its first out Attorney General. Haha, Kari Lake. Also, I will repeat this. Congratulations to the American Southwest for surpassing the American Southeast.
It tells you, I mean, Arizona is changing. So it's not longer that red state. I mean, it's still pretty Republican, I get it, but it's changing. Things are changing in Arizona. So, and people like Katie Hobbs, you know, it's important. You know, there is no longer the Arpaios and, you know, the people that are so backwards that, you know, rule Arizona in the last, you know, decade. So this is very meaningful.
I'm really tired of people passing legislation where they decide that you no longer have rights. This is not acceptable. We all have these rights. We're not asking you to give us rights. We have them. We're telling you to stop discriminating against us, stop not giving us employment and housing and safety in public spaces. We're not begging you to give us anything. You're reading this and I'm going, you know, this douchey guy, whatever, however
right.
he is.
You got it right.
You know, like,
The first time, yeah.
it's like, who do you think you are to put into what you consider law something that would dehumanize someone? You don't get to dehumanize people, and we really have to step up and stop allowing this on all the different levels of government.
But Greg Abbott does it in Texas every day, every week. It's not. Yeah, I get your rage. I'm too, but they do it all the time, and it's kind of like a normal day of business in Texas. They keep taking rights away. You know, they accuse parents of trans kids as child abuse, and they can take them to jail.
Hard.
So this is not, it's not the first time. It keeps happening. And, don't even go to Arkansas or, those other states, north of these states. I mean, things are so outrageous in even in our state, in the state of Florida, where we are so liberal.
Free, right?
No.
We're supposed to be a free country.
Yeah. Governor DeSantis kept Florida free, right?
I would like to voice that Hobbs is hot and my new favorite female superhero. Thanks for including the veterans woman. I love you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's really important.
That way, at least if I, peruse and just, swing by the state and be like, hey,
You'll be like Santa Fe. But, these two stories that we've talked about, Arizona and New Mexico, they put on in stark contrast what does happen in the Southeast. Now, New Mexico, they're planning to pass these things, and they'll probably get some version passed. The executive order signed on Arizona could be undone in the next election. And this shows that so many of the rights we have are literally election to election, 2 to 4 years at a time. We have to keep these. The next governor could come in and say on an executive order on day one, nope. Well, no more. And this is what happened. I want to contrast it real quick, Paul. To say on the first day of the new governor in Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We may know her from her wonderful days as the White House press secretary under the Trump administration. Yeah, I know. But on her first day, she signed an executive order banning the use of the term Latinx. She said there will not be gender neutral words used in state employment, state forms, contracts, basically across the state. So what you've got happening in Arkansas, and you contrast that with what's happening in the Southwest, it's encouraging that we're making the progress there. But the fact is, much of it is only one vote away.
Which is not okay, right? It should be federal legislation. We are already all free. This is not a debate. You don't get to decide as governor of whatever state. You're not free in my state. You don't have that right.
That's so
right. And so we have to stop playing this game, and we have to stop allowing them to play this game and pretend. And let's get this federal legislation passed. Let's get the Equality Act passed. Let's stop that as we drive across America that we're free and we're not free. We can stay in the hotel. We can't stay in the hotel. We can drink from the water fountain. We can't drink from. I mean, come on. This is. Enough is enough already with this stuff.
True.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we now queer up trans rights. A study finds Black Democrats support trans less than their peers. Republicans and Democrats don't often see eye to eye on social issues, but even within the Democratic Party, there are differing views on gender identity and transgender issues. A May 2022 poll from Pew Research Center found 60% of U.S. adults say that the identities of men or women are determined by someone's sex at birth. Around 38% say someone can be a man or woman, even if that differs from their sex at birth. The statistics reveal that over half of U.S. adults incorrectly conflate gender with sex, as every major medical institution separates the two. According to the National Institute of Health, sex refers to biological differences between females and males, including chromosomes, sex organs, and endogenous hormonal profiles. Gender refers to socially constructed and enacted roles and behaviors which occur in a historical and cultural context and vary across societies over time. Though the division is greater among party lines, a new study from Pew found that 86% of Republicans believe gender is determined by sex. Even within the Democratic Party, the opinions of racial groups vastly differ. Around 66% of black Democrats align with Republicans, believing that gender is determined by sex. In comparison, 72% of white Democrats, 61% of Asian Democrats, and 54% of Hispanic Democrats believe that gender and sex are indeed separate. You know, it's a lot. And, no, it is. And trans is something that we don't have a lot of interaction with, even in our own community. So I get that there's a learning curve, but we need to start learning a lot faster in America. And I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it again right now. If it doesn't concern you, quit bitching about it.
Right.
Well, there's also the point of, there's a very big difference between your opinion and what is actual fact, right? Yeah. So you can have whatever opinion you want in your living room, but the medical scientists and how the terminology is defined is that sex is one thing and gender is another. Your opinion doesn't outweigh that reality, right?
But you know, so we saw it with COVID. I mean, you know, science and fact did not matter. I mean, did not matter when it comes to something that was killing us.
Yeah. Science, schmience.
Yeah, science.
I wonder how much of this is based on church.
Right.
Well, for the black Democrats, for
definitely,
sure.
yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. Yeah,
It's a huge problem.
Is it a big enough problem in the black community, the black church community especially, that is it a big enough issue that they would leave the Democratic Party, not necessarily to vote Republican, but just to not vote?
I mean, I don't know. Someone would have to take some type of survey and gather some data on that. I wouldn't know, but
no, I need you to speak for everybody. I need you to speak for everybody in the black.
Yeah, I really can't. I really can't do
you
that.
had
But
one job.
But I think that it's a very important point to bring up, right? That we have to be very careful when we're taking whatever religious training we may be getting and putting that up against, again, like science. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not a debate. I mean, when you're looking at data, when you're looking at the human body, when you're talking about biology and you're writing a paper, sex is one thing. Even within that, they talked about chromosomes. We know a lot about chromosomes.
Exactly.
Guess what? Men and women have all kinds of mixed up chromosomes, and it doesn't make them distinctly male or female.
Right.
This is because we look at it. You know what I mean? We see it with our eyes. Your opinion at home doesn't really matter.
You know, this brought me back to that episode of Pose when Pray Tell goes back to his hometown and the church, you know, and their attitudes and all that. It was such a powerful episode. And, you know, I don't attend a black church, but I wonder if that is realistic. That, you know, and reading the survey that we're publishing it seems to be.
I mean, a lot of these things, even in the earlier stories, the M&Ms story, a lot of the issue is their religion. It's not really about common sense or how to respect other people is that they're told by somebody else, this is good and this is bad. And they don't know how to think for themselves.
Right. That's the basis of it all.
Absolutely.
All right. So next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
Hi, I'm Chris Caputo, City Commissioner with Wilton Manors, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share the news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm John Hayden, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Paul Thomas, Dino Mosquera, DJ Nena, and Gregg Shapiro, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. Hold on to those because you're going to need it. Forget popcorn. You're having M&Ms tonight. Because before we finish, we'll have one final story. Gregg, pass the martini glass.
Now, let's square up the big interview. Trey Crowder, liberal redneck, comes to Sunshine Performing Arts. Trey Crowder is a famous writer and comedian known for his popular online series of videos as the Liberal Redneck. He will be performing at Sunshine Cathedral Performing Arts Center on Saturday, January 28th at 7 p.m. His performance and humor are sure to be a unique experience for queer South Florida. Queer News Tonight invited him to the show recently. Liberal, redneck, stray, queer church, agnostic, and married with children. Although these words may seem to conflict, they all describe what you'll see. In the interview, he'll talk about his journey from rural Tennessee to his present fame. He shared details about his present countrywide tour and what he is expecting to be in South Florida. You won't want to miss this interview and certainly not want to miss his show at Sunshine Cathedral. Tickets are available for purchase at sunshinecathedral.org.
Liberal, redneck, queer,
Right, nice job, everyone.
church,
Thank you.
agnostic, straight, married, children. Those are 8 words that you usually don't hear connected in a single sentence. Those 8 words lead to Trey Crowder. He is a famous writer and comedian known for his popular online series of videos as the Liberal Redneck.
And I had been wondering when the Republicans in my beloved Tennessee would up the crazy ante, raise the stupidity stakes, and now they have. They've got a bill which would effectively remove a minimum age requirement for marriage in the state. So who had child brides on their conservative end times bingo cards, huh? Yeah, I wonder what they workshopped before this. They get together behind closed doors trying to figure out what the most baldly hypocritical thing that they, the party of family values, could do would be. Like, what did they pitch before this? Some guy's like, hey, I was thinking we make it illegal for dads to hug their gay kids in public just so other people don't accidentally catch the gay, you know. Like, yeah, that's not bad, but we need something bigger.
Well, Trey Crowder caught the attention of Queer News Tonight when he was booked for a performance at Sunshine Cathedral Performing Arts Center on Saturday, January 28th at 7 p.m. His comedy performance promises to be something unique and hilarious as he comes to very queer South Florida. Trey Crowder, welcome to Queer News Tonight. We're thrilled to have you.
Hey, Al, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I love your accent. Now let's get it right off the hook. Liberal, redneck, straight, queer, church, agnostic, married, with children. Did I get all of those phrases? I didn't say they were all about you, but in performing at Sunshine Cathedral, did I get all of those right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, again, some of them apply to me. Some of them apply to the church. I am agnostic. I am married with children. I don't even remember. I'm straight. Church is queer. I love queer people. What else do we got? Liberal, redneck. That's my whole thing. I think, okay. Yeah, I think the bases are covered.
Yeah, the bases are covered. Now I'm making sure, just one more time, I heard you say it, but I just want to make sure that I say it. Sunshine Cathedral is a queer church. It's the world's largest queer church, and the agnostic straight comedian who is a redneck is coming in to do comedy.
Evidently, you need to talk to them about that. Because I sort of like I'm a long time ally, and I've got a lot of gay fans and stuff like that. That part's not at all weird to me. None of it's weird to me. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. But like when I found out it was a church specifically, yeah, I was like, oh, well, that's new and interesting. I've never been booked at any kind of church before because I'm a bit of a godless heathen.
Yeah, a godless heathen. Well, you and Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins are going to get along famously then. I want to explore a little bit because, of course, I knew of you, and I've seen many of your YouTube videos that you have online. You're from rural Tennessee. I understood somewhere near the Kentucky border. Tennessee's not that great for LGBT. Kentucky's definitely not that great for LGBT. And not so great for liberals either. Where you're from is not Nashville, and I believe that that's the only place in the state of Tennessee. How did you get to be so liberal?
Well, the thing that I've always attributed it to primarily is the fact that I was raised by a single father. My dad had one sibling, his younger brother, my Uncle Tim, and my Uncle Tim is a gay man openly. And so I think that contributed to my family in general, my dad in particular, and then ultimately me all being much more open-minded. And also, and I'm sorry to keep bringing churches up, but that also kept us out of the church, because the churches where I was from are very different than the church in Fort Lauderdale that we're talking about today, especially where gay people were concerned. So we didn't go to church, and we didn't get indoctrinated in a lot of that Southern Baptist type stuff. And, you know, we loved Uncle Tim, and I think it just led to being generally more open-minded, which then, you know, you start pulling on that thread, and it unravels all the other stuff too. I didn't like the Iraq war. I grew up poor. I don't like, you know, I'm all eat the rich, you know, that type of thing. So, I mean, I've got pretty much all of it going on.
You know, I feel like I have so much in common with you. Grew up in a person of faith, grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. I'm from Southwest Virginia, and my family, and everything that you just said rings completely true. I'm curious, as I say, I'm from Southwest Virginia. For much of my life, my accent frequently equated me as being dumb here in Florida. So I would speak the way, my accent's not as heavy as yours, but growing up in school, it's like, oh no, you're wearing shoes. That doesn't make sense with your accent, and you're probably pretty dumb. Now, as I'm reading details about you, I live in Florida. We're very purple here in Florida, maybe even red now. But you live in Los Angeles. How does your accent work for you in Los Angeles?
Oh, I mean, it's of note for sure. Like, I think a lot of people are generally alarmed by it, or, you know, they're like, who's somebody playing a racist banjo in here? What is that? It's weird. Like, no one expects it. But I feel like the most common response I get, well, either a lot of people are just very complimentary. They're like, oh, I love that accent or whatever. But a whole lot of people ask, and I've always thought this was weird. They're like, I love that accent as long as it's real. Like, is that real? But people think that I'm faking it, which, like, what an accent to fake, you know? Like, I would get Australian or English or something. Well, why would I fake this accent? It's like, yeah, I want everybody to think I hate math, you know? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. But, yeah, so people are just kind of like perplexed by it more than anything, especially because, like, the glasses and the haircut and all that stuff, none of it's, that's so I can pass with my mouth shut, you know.
That's hilarious.
I'm
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's it. We got it. Yeah. You're good. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry, we're in a little bit of a delay. I also have been fascinated and looking forward to talking to you because, as I said, you and I have a lot of things in common. And one of the things that I found out that you and I have in common is that you're a news guy. And that was very exciting to me as a lead anchor at the largest queer news show in the world. I read that you had a gig at the New York Daily News called Hillbilly in Chief, reporting politically oriented video. Tell me about that experience, especially with the New York Post.
Well, it was the New York Daily News, but yeah,
the Daily News.
Still,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, right after I first went viral in 2016, that was honestly one of the first things that came up. Jim Rich, I believe it was in charge at the time, saw the videos and like had the idea for me to do a little video series, like one per week based on one video a week based on a particular news story that they would suggest to me. Usually it was something that was like either redneck or Southern adjacent. Like I remember I did one about when Kentucky opened that big Ark, Noah's Ark museum. Like I did a video for them covering that. And yeah, they were very similar to the videos that I do on my own page, except I would do characters and stuff for those. I tried to switch it up a little bit, but that came completely out of nowhere. I loved doing it. But that whole regime got replaced. I'm not saying it was my fault, but it could have been. It's hard to say. but it seems they had some dubious decision-making skills since they were giving me stuff to do. But yeah, the new regime came in, so they, that ended my time making those videos for the New York Daily News. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and they're all, I think, still up. Like you can find them if you Googled my name and Daily News. And yeah, I think they're pretty good. They're pretty funny. I think they turned out pretty well.
I think it's hilarious. And the fact that the New York Daily News would embrace your kind of humor and your kind of voice and where you're from at the time that it was going on. Is super interesting to me. I want to talk a moment about what is going to happen here in South Florida when you come in. You're on a national tour. You're going to lots of cities. In addition to Fort Lauderdale in Florida, you're coming to Tampa and to Orlando and to audience here in Florida and around the country. Make sure you go to TreyCrowder.com and look at all of the gig dates that he is doing. I'm curious, what do you expect from a gay audience when you're in Fort Lauderdale, and what should the gay audience expect from you? What can we expect?
I've always gotten along very well with my gay audience members and gay fans. I don't do, it'll come up at least a little bit. I feel like I sort of run the gamut. I feel like if you watch my videos and you like them, you're gonna not be surprised or feel betrayed or anything by the type of comedy that I do, but it's a little more evergreen, sort of. Like the videos I do are very topical and specific, and on stage I talk about the same general themes and whatnot, making fun of crazy conservatives and that sort of thing, but in more general terms. So I think we'll have a good time. You're certainly not gonna, I don't think gonna have anything to take issue with. And every now and then I'll have some bits that sort of touch on LGBTQ stuff, but yeah, we'll see.
And even if we do have some things to take a bit of observation on, bring it on. We hope to hear it. Trae, I have to give you a little warning though, before your January 28th gig here in Fort Lauderdale at Sunshine Cathedral Performing Arts Center. I don't know if you have heard the news, but in Florida, we have a governor named Ron DeSantis. You're preparing for our governor, Ron DeSantis, right?
Yeah, I think he'll probably come up at least a little bit at the beginning. I'll probably go after him somewhat because he makes an easy target. But I mean, he's also abjectly terrifying. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not looking forward to his career trajectory, and I thank Florida for unleashing him onto the world. But listen, I can't say too much. I'm from Tennessee. Yeah. We're pretty bad too.
Yeah, I was going to say Tennessee and Florida and Texas. The three of us are just battling it out on who can be the worst.
That's true.
Don't you think Florida perhaps right now is in the lead because we have handed off from Donald Trump in Palm Beach to Ron DeSantis in Tallahassee? So I think we might be beating Tennessee. I think
look, I'll gladly let you have that particular belt. I'm not going to fight you over that trophy, but being objective about it, I think, probably. It seems like it's mostly between Florida and Texas most of the time, but Tennessee tries to sneak in there with their own stupidity, every now and then. Well, Tennessee's got a little brother syndrome thing going on.
Yeah, that's Texas. Exactly it. As much as I want to hate on Tennessee, Tennessee always gets a pass in the LGBTQ community, and that is because you have Nashville, and we love Nashville. But more importantly, you've got Dolly Parton, and she's the patron saint of the LGBTQ community. So she says, please forgive them. They have sinned, but I live here. So we give a pass to Tennessee.
And I think we've earned that pass just because of Dolly. I knew as soon as you started that sentence where it was going.
Where it was going to go. Did I telegraph it?
She is, deservedly so. She is the queen and the saint and all that. I agree with you. So yeah, love Dolly.
I want to talk about for just a moment another icon for me, just a personal icon, and that's Bill Maher. And I was reading about you, and if there is an anti-Bill Maher in the world, it would be a guest described as Redneck. Now, seriously, he just almost walks on water for me in terms of what he does on his show. You've had 3 appearances on Real Time. Please, just for me, tell me what that experience was like, working and sitting with Bill Maher in those shows.
Well, I mean, the first time was absolutely insane because the first time I went on there was the Friday following the presidential election in 2016. So it was like 3 days after Donald Trump had shocked the world, basically. And going on that show in particular on that night was wild. I mean, it's honestly like a blur because it was such a surreal experience because also part of the way Bill does it, and they tell you this beforehand, they're like, the first time you're going to meet him is when you walk on stage to do your thing. So that was my experience. I walk out there, sit down by John Legend, David Axelrod's across from me. And, and it was so crazy because I'm a big fan too. I've been watching that show for years, and you kind of, it feels like it goes by in an instant, at least for me, and again, looking back on it, it feels almost kind of like a dream or something. Then, then the subsequent 2 times, it's not as novel, so you settle in a little more, but it's still pretty wild. The third time I was on there, I don't know if it's me, I don't know what's going on here, but the third time I was on there, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died while we were live on the air. It was announced live. Dear. Yeah. So it's like 2 out of the 3 times have been really noteworthy, episodes for various reasons. So, I mean, yeah, it's been pretty intense for sure.
Trey,
great. I love it.
Did you make any connections that the possibility of you appearing on Bill Maher brings on terrible national news, the election of Donald Trump and the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Is there any possibility that might be?
Yeah, I guess I'm just cursed by the universe pushing back on everything that I represent, I guess. I don't know, but...
He's a hero, and the fact that you've made these 3 appearances, I think, is just fantastic in terms of your representation. Let me come back to this national tour. As I say to audience, all of these dates can be seen at TreyCrowder.com, and we're putting up all of Trey's social media right now, so you can find out how to do that. I'm curious in doing this, sitting in Los Angeles, do you like touring? Is this all of the gigs that you've done in various different ways? Is touring one of the things you really like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm married. I have 2 children, so I have to balance like not being gone all the time, especially the way musicians are. But I'm lucky like that. I can fly out for a couple of days and then come back. I don't have to be gone for stretches at a time. So that sort of mitigates that part for me. And outside of that, I absolutely love it because I consider myself I was a stand-up comedian for 6 years before I started making those videos or anything. I consider myself primarily a comedian. And to me, if you're a comedian, this is the job, touring and being on the road and doing it. That's what it's all about. And I just, I enjoy it. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. My crowds are great. Everybody loves them. The staff at the venues always love them, and they make it easy on me. So it's a great time. I love doing it.
Well, as I said in the introduction, the seeming contradictions here make this a not-to-miss moment on January 28th for your 7 p.m. performance. Agnostic, redneck, Southerner with this accent, liberal, in a church, in a queer church. married, with children. Just seems to me it has all of the makings of being a great evening in Fort Lauderdale at Sunshine Performing Arts Center.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time, and I'm going to be glad to be in Southern Florida in late January instead of, Minneapolis, where I'll be 2 weeks after that. Look, I love Minneapolis. Looking forward to seeing them too, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not used to that. I'm from the South. I live in LA. I don't. Yeah.
We know what you're saying.
I don't want to
It'll
freeze.
probably be about 80 degrees here.
I love it.
To all of our audience, again, you don't want to miss Trey Crowder, Saturday, January 28th at 7 p.m. at Sunshine Cathedral Performing Arts Center. We're giving you the information to get your tickets. You'll see that in our broadcast here. Trey Crowder, I can't wait to personally meet you and see your show. And I thank you very much for joining us on Queer News Tonight.
Al, I'm honored to have been here, Al. I can't wait to meet you too, and thank you guys for having me. I'm looking forward to getting down there to sunny Southern Florida.
Hey, y'all, it's Trey Crowder here. Listen up. On January 28th at 7 p.m., I'll be performing at the Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I don't know what we're going to talk about since Florida's been so chill and low-key lately, minding their own business, not making any waves or headlines or nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Florida's been on one, so I'm looking forward to it. Go to sunshinecathedral.org and get your tickets now. By the way, I hear they are the largest progressive queer church around, which I feel like hearing the words progressive queer church together probably has a similar impact on people as hearing the words liberal redneck together. So I'm into it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait. January 28th, 7 p.m., sunshinecathedral.org. Love you. Bye.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.